So good morning students, welcome back to my channel. Okay, so as I am doing installment system, okay, today I am going to do sorry, okay, the topic interest suspense account. Okay, this is an important topic in installment system. Okay, what is interest suspense account? Okay, so what is interest suspense account? It is an account which is opened in both the books of buyer and the seller. Okay, and what does it represent? Okay, it represents the total amount of interest, okay, to be charged in each installment, okay, every year, okay, or every periodical installments. So here you see I have written something. You see opened both in the books of buyer and the seller. Okay, so interest suspense account, it is opened both in the books of buyer and seller. With what? With the total amount of interest. Okay, so this is one of the important point, that interest suspense account is open both in the books of buyer and seller. Okay, and it represents what? It represents the total amount of interest. You see, total amount of interest. Okay, so then you see it is a future liability of the buyer. So it is a future liability of the buyer, total future liability. Okay, total future liability of the buyer. Okay, that is why the buyer treats it as a deferred expense. Okay, because it is to be paid at some future date. Okay, so delay in payment, so it is termed as deferred expense. Okay, it's a total future liability of the buyer. Okay, then it's a total future income to the seller, and it's a total future income to the seller. Okay, it's a liability of the buyer and an income to the seller. Okay, since it is a total future liability of the buyer, therefore it is treated as a deferred expenses by the buyer. Okay, now you see what are the journal entries to be passed in the books of the buyer as well as in the books of the vendor. Okay, in case of installment system. Okay, so installment system journal entries are always passed, okay, with interest suspense account. That is why it is required for you all to understand what is interest suspense account. Okay, now you see the journal entries on the very date of agreement, on the date of agreement, okay, in the books of the buyer. You see asset account is debited. Since asset comes into the business, okay, so asset account is debited with the cash price, okay, cash price of the asset. Then interest suspense account is debited. Then you see interest suspense account, okay, will be debited with the total interest, total amount of interest. Okay, to vendors account, it's a liability at that time, so vendors account will be credited with what? With the total cash price of the asset as well as the total amount of interest. Okay, it's an expense. Interest suspense account, it's an expense, so its increase should be debited. Okay, then the second entry on the date of agreement is for the receipt of down payment by the, sorry, not receipt, payment of down payment, okay, for the purchase of asset by the buyer. Okay, so it will be vendors account debited to bank account, like as we have passed in case of hire purchase system. Okay, down payment entry is what? In the books of buyer, vendor account debited to bank or cash account. Okay, then for the starting of the, okay, payment of periodical installments. Okay, that is if the payment of periodical installments is made, okay, on yearly basis. Okay, then at the end of the first year, okay, at the end of the first year, what will be the entry? It is same again, vendor's account debited, okay, to bank oblique cash account with the amount of installment for that period of time. Okay, then you see the fourth entry will be for interest due. Okay, it is interest account debited to interest suspense account with the periodical amount of interest. That is the interest which is included in the first year of the installment. Okay, with that amount, okay, interest account will be debited and interest suspense account will be credited. Okay, interest suspense account debit and interest suspense account credit, both these accounts will be cancelled, debit and credit. Only interest account will remain, which is an expense for the buyer. Okay, so asset account debited, interest account debited to vendor's account. Okay, but it is very necessary, okay, it's a rule to open an interest suspense account in installment system, okay, for the passing of journal entries. Okay, later on this suspense account is cancelled. Debit suspense, credit suspense is cancelled. Okay, so for interest due, interest account debited to interest suspense account. That is, interest is transferred to interest suspense account. Okay, next entry is what? Okay, fourth, okay, then you see for charging of depreciation. Okay, so the buyer is going to calculate the depreciation of the asset, yes or no? Sorry. So it is depreciation account debited to asset account. You all know, very easy. Okay. Then interest and depreciation is transferred to what? Is transferred to statement of profit and loss account. Yes or no? So statement of profit and loss account debited to interest account to depreciation account. It's as like as the entries you have passed, okay, in hire purchase system in the books of buyer, okay, in under full cash price method, same like that. Okay, so only this entry on the date of agreement and the entry for payment of down payment will be passed once. Rest of the entries for payment of periodical installments, for interest due, okay, with the amount of interest, okay, periodical interest, okay, transferred to interest suspense account, okay, charging of depreciation, transfer of interest and depreciation to statement of profit and loss account will be passed year after year. Okay, will have to be passed year after year. Okay, like if the asset, okay, if the asset is purchased for 5, okay, for with the payment of 5 yearly installments, then for 5 years these 4 entries will be repeated, okay, for the next 5 years. Got it? So this you have to do, okay, by yourself. And what are the accounts to be opened in the books of buyer? Ledger accounts. It is vendor account, it is asset account, okay, it is interest account, it is depreciation account, it is interest suspense account. Then sixthly, it is statement of profit and loss account. These are the 6 accounts which you have to ledger accounts which you have to open in the books of the buyer under installment system. Got it? Now come to the next part, okay, that is in the books of the vendor, okay, journal entries. Okay, so on the date of agreement, okay, it is buyer's account will be debited with the cash price plus total interest of the asset to sales account. We know that buyer, okay, in case of installment system, okay, ownership transfers to the in the hands of the buyer. Sorry. So it will be, okay, like in hire purchase system we have credited what? Sales account, yes or no? But since the amounts will be received in a very small amount, okay, small denominations, because periodical installments are so less, okay, it will not be received, okay, the full cash price will not be received together by the vendor. Okay, so it is part payment, okay, so it's like revenue. Okay, so sales account is credited. Sales account will be treated as a is a revenue account. So when it increases, it should be credited. Okay, so since the full cash price of the asset will be received, okay, in denominations, that is in installments. Okay, so small installments will be received, not the full cash price of the asset will be received. So it is treated as a revenue. Okay, so to sales account, okay, it is credited, okay, with the cash price of the asset. To interest suspense account with the total amount of interest. Okay, and the buyer's account will be debited. Buyer's account will be debited with the cash price plus total interest. Okay, that is said on the date of agreement. Okay, in the books of vendor. Now for receipt of down payment, it is bank account debited to buyer's account. Okay, you know. Then for receipt of installments, okay, it's again bank account debited to buyer's account. Okay, and then for interest due, it is again interest suspense account. Here it is credited, but it's an income like for the vendor or the seller. So interest account will be credited, and here interest suspense account will be debited with the total periodical interest. Okay, that is the amount of interest included, okay, in each installment. Okay, so it is interest suspense account will be debited. See here, interest suspense account credited, interest suspense account debited. Debit credit will be cancelled. Okay, to interest account it will be. Okay, but interest suspense account will have to be opened in case of installment system. Okay, so to interest account, which is a gain for the vendor. Okay, so interest suspense account. Okay, interest suspense account debited to interest account. Okay, with the total periodical interest, amount of interest. Now there is no matter of depreciation in the books of the vendor, yes or no? So this interest will be transferred to statement of profit and loss account. So it is statement of profit and loss account, interest account debited to statement of profit and loss account, the final entry. Okay, so on the date of agreement, this entry and for the receipt of down payment amount, okay, will be passed only once in the books of the vendor. And for receipt of periodical installments, for interest being due, okay, and transfer of interest to statement of profit and loss account will be transferred, okay, will be passed year after year. Okay, whatever is the number of installments, okay, and how it is paid, okay, like it may be paid monthly, okay, then quarterly, half yearly or yearly. So however it is paid, okay, these three entries will be passed repeatedly. Okay, and this on the date of agreement, and okay, another entry for the receipt of down payment. Okay, so I hope you have understood this. Okay, and what are the ledger accounts to be passed in the books of the vendor? It is buyer's account. Okay, it is asset account. Okay, asset account is not opened in the books of the seller, that is vendor. Okay, it is buyer's account. Okay, then it is sales account. Okay, then it is interest suspense account, interest account. Okay, and then lastly it is profit and loss account. Okay, sales account will also not be passed because sales account will be transferred to trading account. Okay, sales account will be transferred to trading account. So no need of passing, okay, opening sales account. Only 4 accounts will be opened in the books of the vendor. The first one is your buyer's account. The second one is interest account. Third one is interest suspense account, and then the fourth one is profit and loss account. Okay, so these are the 4 ledger accounts to be opened in the books of the vendor. Okay, so I hope this topic is very much clear to you. okay, as well as the journal entries to be passed in the books of the buyer, okay, as well as in the books of the vendor, and what are the ledger accounts to be opened in both the books of buyer and vendor. Okay, hope you have understood. If you like my video, please subscribe to my channel, and the new viewers, okay, please subscribe, okay, share and comment, okay. So thank you for today.